That's how you end a ball game right there, baby. Tennessee Volunteers, number one, they showed why tonight. Got hit with a lot of adversity tonight. A lot of adversity, but big-time teams win big-time games in big-time environments. So many guys, well, I say so many guys. Jordan Gainey stepped up tonight. Jordan Gainey stepped up big time. There's other guys as well who did some things. There's a lot to talk about in this game. I was not happy with a lot of calls tonight. I'll be honest with it. But it didn't matter in the end. Tennessee wins 66-64. It was a grinded out game from the beginning. I have numerous moments in the game that stood out to me as far as what turned the game. And I didn't like I don't know. The officiating was garbage tonight. It was freaking garbage on it. It seemed like it was not both ways either. But you know what? It doesn't matter. You go into an environment like that. It was a hostile environment. This game was about what I thought it would be. I thought Tennessee could go in and win this game. I knew it would be a tough environment. It's a pretty good basketball team they played in Illinois. They got some good players. They've got some size, which gave Tennessee problems. And I'm going to talk about where we have trouble with our size. There's a big glaring issue that's popped up a couple games in a row for us that they've got to get fixed on this one. Make sure you hit that like, share this thing out here as well. Man, these games like this they're nerve-wracking, but they're fun when you win the game. I didn't feel good at the end when Ziegler missed the free throw, then fouled out. I mean, the Illinois point guard, Yakachonis, is the real deal. The guy can play. They did force him into mistakes tonight. Let's see. Hang on. I'm going to let me send Kerry the link. He's going to join in on here. All right. He should be in here in a minute. So we'll have a couple people here to talk it. This will be fun to have two of us in here talking it. But yeah, it's there's so much I liked as far as just overcoming adversity. And it's a shorthanded team too. That's kind of the thing with it. It's shorthanded, yet they're finding ways to win. And a lot of you, I like a lot of your comments here. Some of you mentioned Boswell, Dubar. To me, I think there was about 8 minutes left in the game. Tennessee's down 6 points. They threw it in to their big guy. Dubar got the block, and then they went the other way, and he got the three. That was a huge sequence in the game, and then they come back down, and Jordan Gainey hit that three that put them up as well. Let me hit some comments here. What's up, Brad Lipford? Brad was in here for the Lady Vols earlier. He just says yes, absolutely. Memphis is in here. Really like Bishop Boswell's minutes tonight. He got put in some high-pressure minutes tonight, and I thought he did his job. I thought he did really well with it. Knoxville Predator Catchers in the house says, what a way to end the game. I was really surprised. I mean, when they threw it back, I thought that Gainey was probably going to have to pull up. The fact that he drove in and then it went. I mean, what a finish, man. Gainey was awesome tonight. We do not win that game if not for Jordan Gainey. We do not win that game. Sorry for that. I was trying to get Kerry on here. But Gainey tonight, let me hit a few stats with him. 23 points, Chaz Lanier 17. Chaz kept us in it in the first half. Gainey, especially with the foul trouble we had tonight, Gainey bailed us out. What is going on, man?
What a game. What
a game, man. What a finish. talking about Gainey. I mean,
oh yeah, what
we don't win that game without him tonight.
Mm-mm.
I mean, Chaz kept us in it in the first half. Gainey, second half, he took over that game. And I talked about a minute ago, I think there was around 8 minutes left. To me, a big sequence. Tennessee was down 6. They threw it into Illinois' big guy, and Dubar got the block, and they went the other way, and then Dubar hit the 3 on it. I thought that was huge.
That was huge.
I was texting buddies of mine. I said, that might be the sequence that leads us to win that game. And I think it was right after that Gainey hit a 3 and tied it. What a game, man. And it was a tough environment. That was a good win. It's a good basketball team on it. Here's a point. So many fouls called. I had a real problem with the fouls called tonight.
Yeah, that was what did you think called. I mean, there was a lot of fouls called. It was kind of ridiculous there for a while. You kind of saw early in the game that they were going to do that. And I think it's funny, like watching the Illinois crowd the whole time, booing after every single call. And I guarantee you Tennessee got called for probably at least 8 more fouls. Let me see here.
That's what I was pulling. I've got the game box up. Looks like fouls. Let me get the split box here on it.
It says 3 more fouls for Tennessee, but still.
It felt like a whole lot more.
They had 8 more free throw attempts, so that says all you need to know on that one. They did shoot 80% from the free throw line. Illinois did, so good for them. That's hard to do for any team.
The fact that both teams take 64 free throws, give me a break, man.
Yeah.
That's too many. Chaz got a raw end on a couple of fouls.
Yeah, especially the 5th one. He was just standing straight up, and like his hands were literally in the air, like straight up, and they still called that 5th foul on him. So that one.
I thought his 4th one was when he got the offensive rebound, and him and the guy were kind of shoving, and that was a joke. I mean, it was a freaking joke. But fortunately, it worked out tonight. Let me hit this super chat right here. We got Ed is for UT. Thank God this is not March. Missed too many open shots, especially in the first half. It was a great road win for our resume. They had a rough night from the field, for sure. I think Illinois had a lot to do with that. In my preview, I said that was something that concerned me with Illinois. Pretty good defensive team. They do have size. But, yeah, the thing that encouraged to me, it was a great road win for the resume, no doubt. And the fact that you're on the road, you didn't play your best.
Not even close.
My God, you left there with a victory.
Yeah, and that was weird because I was expecting Rick Barnes or somebody to call a timeout there on that last free throw attempt for them. So it was weird that it worked out that way. And then they already had the play drawn up for Gainey, and he ran the whole court. And that was pretty much out. I mean, that was an easy basket. They let him go all the way to the basket, and that was the same shot that Tennessee attempted probably 8 times during the game. Because, I mean, I've seen Tennessee in that game have that exact shot attempt where it's running over, they beat their guy by a step, and they throw it up. They didn't make most of them, but they made the one that actually counted. So
I didn't think he was going. I figured he'd have to pull up, shoot a 3 or maybe free throw. But man, he got up there.
Yeah,
good time.
Yeah. I mean 5 seconds is a long time in reality,
it is,
especially whenever he gets a head start after he inbounds it. So
let me get into these comments here. Got a hell yeah, LFG. Absolutely. Eric Jones, what's going on, man? Good to see you in here again. Hard-fought game. Pulled out the W. I'm going to disagree on this one. Milicic had a bad night shooting.
The rebound.
Milicic was big, though, on the boards. Milicic was big on the boards tonight. He had 14 rebounds.
And he had that huge basket during the last few minutes where he stole the inbounds pass and then slammed it.
Absolutely.
I mean, that made up for every missed shot that he had tonight, just that play in itself, in my opinion.
Yeah, he's a better shooter than that. He he had a bad night shooting. Now he's a good basketball player. This was one of those nights I was wondering, was this like last year? Was this going to be Chaz is going to have to carry us? But then Jordan Gainey said, "Nah, I got you, Chaz." I mean, it was a little bit of rough shooting night, but right here, Gainey balled out tonight. I mean, Gainey was 6 out of 14, 3 out of 6 free 3-pointers, 8 out of 9 free throws. That was big.
Yeah, that's
2 boards. Only 3 fouls, thank God. Everybody else had about 10 each. I mean, it was, and the fact they had to play small. I said earlier, it was right before you were getting on. We've had a problem come up 2 games in a row. Felix Akpar has got to get going.
Yeah.
He was brought in to be able to do something against these bigs, and he is nowhere to even be found the second half.
No. It
Tonight.
was, I mean, and the minutes that he did get in the second half, I get he picked up the 2 fouls. He was a force on the rebounds. Like, he got a good amount of rebounds in the 3 minutes that he played. So, like, it's there. I don't expect him to be a contributor on the offensive side, maybe like 5 to 7 points a game. But I just need you to get rebounds and play good defense, and that's just not something that we've seen from him. I'm okay with him getting 10 rebounds a game and averaging 3 points if we have to. Other guys are going to score. That's not his job.
9 minutes tonight. 9 minutes, 3 rebounds, 3 fouls, 1 shot. And I know Illinois got some rebounds on him when he was in, because I remember the announcer saying Akpar has got to be better than that.
Yeah.
What's going on, Rebecca? Rebecca was in here for the Lady Vols earlier too. Good golly, couldn't handle much more of that. Glad Gainey pulled that one out. It was, I mean, when we found Yakachonis at the end, I didn't feel good about it. Well, after Ziegler missed the free throw.
Yeah.
Here we go. And
yeah,
fortunately, it did work out on that one. Anderson says, oh, yeah, Frank will give us the box scoring stats. Let's get to it here. Here we go with the box score. I'll read them all. Well, heck, let me just share them. Here, I can share them and read them at the same time. So let's see. There we go here. All right, there we go. Chaz 17 tonight, 5 out of 17. I mean, if you look down here at the bottom, 20 out of 62. Tennessee shot 32% field goals, and they're typically above 50%. 25% three-pointers, 71% free throws, and they still won that basketball game. I mean, if we look over here at the side on it, 32%. Illinois shot 29. So, I mean, they were even worse than Tennessee.
15 made baskets.
Yeah, 15 made baskets, 30 made free throws. Give me a freaking break, man. There's no reason to be shooting that many free throws in a game. Especially, that's what I hate, is when you get 2 physical teams in a game and you get an officiating crew who calls every little tic-tac foul in it. If you want to get 2 finesse teams and call it, so be it. But when it's 2 physical teams, let them play, man. Let them play. That's terrible. 64 free throw attempts. I mean, terrible. But Tennessee did hold them to 17% three-pointers. Like you said earlier, man, Illinois shot 83% on 36 free throws. Hats off to them. That's what kept them in the game. Tennessee was pretty good with the ball, only 6 turnovers, 12 points off of it. Tennessee did win the rebounding battle, 42-37. I thought that was big because they were outsized. I mean, when our big guy has 9 minutes on the night, but, you know, we talked about how big was Milicic on it. I thought Dubar was big.
Yeah.
I mean, Cade Phillips didn't play a ton of minutes, but he was pretty effective. Our bench, I mean, of course, Gainey comes off the bench, so we beat them 30-12. Paint points, 22 apiece. We had 4 blocks. There were 7 steals. And did each team only have 6 assists? Wow. 6 assists only for each team. That's pretty crazy. That's a pretty crazy number right there. I don't know that I have seen a game with a total of 12 assists between 2 teams.
That's pretty low.
Before. I would venture to say Igor will be shooting some. He had some good looks tonight too.
He did. He
But,
he had a lot of good looks.
But you know what? He like I said, that steal made up for it. It's great to be a Tennessee Volunteer. That's a fact. This pretty much sums it up right here. Holy shit, what a game. I totally agree on that one. Yeah, I think we've definitely got our number 2 now. Gainey established that one. He's his improvement this year. Everybody talks about Cade Phillips, rightfully so.
Yeah.
Jordan Gainey, though, has made big time.
I mean, he couldn't hit a shot for, it seemed like, months last season. Like, it was just, he was going out there and he was just playing minutes, and he was going to throw up threes and he was going to miss all of them. So it's a totally different story this year. He's actually a threat.
He is, because it seemed like out in Maui, he had a couple pretty good games, because it looked like he and Connect were going to be a pretty good 1-2 punch. And then, like I said, Gainey had a rough go. He had some good games down the stretch, but yeah, he was basically non-existent for a while. But you can see these guys put in the work with it as well. Getting Dubar back tonight was big.
Yeah, we don't win if he wasn't healthy tonight, in my opinion.
No, he what was it? His numbers on that: 5 points, 5 rebounds, no turnovers, no fouls, 16 minutes. Again, that one sequence where he blocked the shot, come back down to 3-pointer, that was huge.
Yeah.
Because if they hit that, I look at that almost as a 5-point swing, because if they score on that, it's an 8-point game. Instead, we go down and get that 3 and cut it to 3. I think that was huge in it tonight. These were pretty rough. I mean, I don't know, man. Do you think that was a foul on Ziegler that he fouled out on?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, his back was turned. He took out the shooter's lane. So that was I didn't like it live, but I didn't really, where Ziegler's so small, I couldn't really see. So I didn't know that he just full on backed into him. That's the calls that Ziegler gets, whenever he's running down the court and he slows down, the guy runs into him. If Ziegler gets all those calls, I expect the same thing when it happens the other way. So I was fine with that one. There was a lot more that I was pretty pissed about.
I did not like the one late. The Boswell for Illinois drove, nailed Jemai Meshack in the face.
Ridiculous.
And yet Meshack gets called for the foul. And they were looking at it to see if Meshack had given a flagrant. I mean,
I think they were looking at the flagrant for the other way. They were looking because they knew that the elbow was to the face, but they couldn't just say, oh my gosh, we were like so wrong. It was actually the dude elbowed the defensive player in the face. So they weren't just going to totally switch their call on the court and add on a flagrant as well. So
it was terrible.
That's just not something you can expect from any officiating crew, even though it was
terrible.
I mean, live, I didn't know, like, the play to me, I couldn't tell if it was a block or if it was a charge. Of course, I'm always going to lean on charge, but I wish there was a way that they could, in those situations, in late minutes like that, how they could kind of like in football, let the play go out, kind of pause it, not necessarily make a call on the court and then review it and then make a call from there.
Yeah. There's no reason that call should not have been overturned.
No.
That should not have been a foul on Meshack.
No.
But I mean, when the guy does his job and then he gets nailed in the mouth.
Yeah, and Meshack was leaning back too, which was what made it worse. It wasn't like he was just straight up. He was falling backwards himself, and the dude still reached out and elbowed him in the face.
Yeah, I thought Meshack got called for a few pretty cheap fouls tonight. I didn't think any of those 4-point plays were fouls. I mean, I don't know. I guess it depends. Maybe I'm being a little bit biased.
To me, they were.
You thought they were?
I thought they were, just because they ran into him on both times, and you just can't make contact. I think the one from Meshack was disappointing because that's just not something you expect from him. In that moment, that past like minute for Meshack was in a ringer. He was already out of it. I mean, the possession before, we threw a ball to him and he was just standing there and wasn't even paying attention. Like he was out of touch in reality for like a 2-minute time.
Yeah.
And the other one, I mean, Lanier did he's full body, but almost gave him a hug. So I was okay with that one.
That was, I guess, the one. There was the one Meshack hit the guy on the wrist or hand. Barnes pulled him out. I think it was after you said he wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, he wasn't paying attention.
Barnes was not happy with him.
I think he had just got his bell rung. Like he just got on the other end. He just got the crap knocked out of him, and he was on the court. And I was like, just stay down. And then he gets up and he sluggishly runs down the court, and he looks like he's out of it on TV. and then he's just standing there just pretending like he's going to set a screen, and then next thing you know, the ball's flying at him, and he's just like, "What in the world? Where am I at right now?" So he was lost.
Yeah. Ugliest win in a while, but that's what championship teams do. And Dubar, yeah, Dubar was huge. But yeah, sometimes you got to win these ugly games. Good teams can win in multiple ways, and that was a good one. What's going on, Bob Franklin? Gainey was the outlaw tonight. Refs, you've been outlawed. One job to do, and the refs failed. They had a rough one. Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Ed, for UT. You guys with your super chats. Thank you for your generosity. Those are greatly appreciated tonight. Let me get called up here, get our comments all the way going. Where was I at here? I made a lot of comments about Gainey tonight. Of course, there's Papa J. What a game. Yep. Woof. What a game. Absolutely. Akpar's got to step it up. He's got to step it up. I think he's better than that. I think he's better than this. I would venture to say they'll get it fixed. They'll get it fixed. Let's see what else. I wouldn't give up on Milicic, guys. He can play. He can play. He had a rough night shooting tonight. He can play, though. And we don't win that basketball game without him. I mean, his 14 rebounds, like you said, the steal. I'm thinking, let's see, he had an assist. I don't see, they don't have blocks. Well, let's see, let me go to the visitor stats. Those are a little more. He did have a block. I thought he did. He had a block and a steal. I mean, they were +8 with him on the court tonight. And Gainey, they were +12. Dubar, they were +6. Chaz, they were -4. Meshack, -5. Para, -11. Ziegler's +1. On it, your most efficient guy on the night was Gainey. Your second most efficient was Milicic and Dubar, according to the analytics on it. Now, their efficiency ratings weren't necessarily high, but they were still pretty efficient in that regard. I don't know. I'm not even down on Para. I'm disappointed, but I think the time, I'm like you, average 3 points a game. I don't care, but 8, 9, 10 rebounds, 2 or 3 blocks a game. That's what we need out of him.
Yeah.
And, it's been a rough week for him, but not knowing personally, but like knowing a Rick Barnes team and how they are, they'll rebound back. I mean, he was up cheering. He wasn't sitting over there with a towel over his head like a certain guy was against Purdue last year, who's now at Arkansas. But let's see. What's going on, Moonshine? Good to see you in here tonight. A lot of people going on about the refs. I'm with you. With the two teams that physical, come on, man. Out of the woods, what's going on for 10? Says games like this make a team better. Thank you guys for your generosity tonight. It's greatly appreciated. This was one I had circled as being that prove it game. I thought as far as non-conference went, this was the game to see, especially being on the road. I thought this was the game to see what we had. I mean, that was a tough environment that they played in too. It is what it is. I would like to see. Yep, I agree with this one. Huge win Lanier had 17, but Ziegler really didn't. I mean, he had 6 points. He only had 2 assists. I mean, they only had 12 total assists in the whole game. That's still crazy to me. It's kind of funny, the difference in games today. Lady Vols hit 33s and had 70-some points off of 44 turnovers, and then you see this, and there's 6 assists in it. 64 fouls called in the game. There were 64 total free throws in it. Tennessee will have I'll tell you off the air here. I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus here. Agree with Moonshine. Hit the like button. I think it got to a point with Milicic that he probably needed to ease up on the threes and maybe drive. I mean, he was.
He needed to follow his shots too. And I
He
know Rick
did.
Barnes is going to get on him for that because there was multiple times. And it's not just a tonight thing. It's been a few games now that he's just not followed his shots.
That's right. Yeah, I agree with you. And there was the one he ended up getting the foul on it. And, I thought the announcer was kind of a goof, but he was right on that one. Thank you, Mr. Gainey.
Mm-hmm.
We do not win that game without him tonight. No doubt about it. Yeah, I mean, the Illinois players, they lower their shoulders and nothing, yet Chaz and the guys fighting for a rebound, and Chaz gets it, puts it back. I mean, whatever, man. They didn't show the foul count. When you said the number, I was surprised. It seemed to me like it was a lot worse than it was. But I kind of laughed, kept waiting for the technical on the Illinois coach. I was laughing because it's like, you're getting the calls here. What are you upset about? Yep, Gainey. That was big time for him tonight. That was for as many people who have thought, is this going to be like last year with Dalton Connect, where if Chaz Lanier's off, do we have anybody to step up? I think we answered that question tonight with it. And it got answered in an emphatic way also. Dang, this is no wrestling. Remember, egg-sucking refs tried screwing us. Yep, 36 free throw attempts is crazy. But hats off to them for hitting 30 of them. Let me get on down. Moonshine, wear it out, brother. Moonshine time. Hopefully it's the good stuff. Let's see what else we got. A lot of I'll tell you, if about a few of those Illinois guys hit the portal, I'd be happy for them to come to Tennessee. For sure. That Yakachonis can play.
Yeah.
He is a real good player. What is it? Ivicic. Pretty good player as well. He had 12 boards. I mean, that's a good basketball team. I would not be surprised to see that team be a really vital contender in the Big Ten. I mean,
I hope so.
Did they win the Big Ten last year, or did they win the Big Ten tournament? Or they were somewhere in the mix. Let's put it that way. Let's see here. Hamilton says, I need a freaking cigarette. So, yeah, I could understand that one. Barnes figures that when I was questioning a little bit the lineup late. Of course, they were in foul trouble. But I texted some buddies of mine. I said, this looks bad on Okpara that we'll have to go to Boswell over him because they don't trust Okpara at all. Boswell played some good minutes, I thought. The Meshack rebound foul and the Milicic steal. Yep, those were big.
They won the tournament last year, the Big Ten tournament. Illinois did.
Okay. Did you go to the game last year when UT played them in Knoxville?
Well, I don't think I went to that one. I don't remember going to that one. I think I was out of town for that one because it was Christmas time or something. I think I was home. Yeah, pretty sure.
I looked up on it at one point. The game started at 4:30 Central Time, 5:30 our time, and then goes to almost 8 o'clock because I looked down at 7:33. And there was 4 minutes and something left in the game. So it's like, that was crazy in here. Let's see what else we got. Kyle, hey, he's in a slump now, but wait till he gets hot. Sports Talk Jay in the house. How about that? What's up, man? Good to see you in here. Excellent game in a very tough environment. I mean, we know there's some SEC environments that are pretty rowdy, but that was a good test for this team to see how they responded to it. And the response was a little iffy at times, but the bottom line is it ended up 66-64. Ed, hey guys, expect the same calls. We'll go to Auburn and Lexington. Ed, I appreciate your generosity tonight, man. Thank you so much for that. We really appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely on that. Do we play? We only play Auburn at Auburn this year. Is that right?
Yes, at Auburn.
We don't play them in Knoxville this year, do we?
Nope.
Let me pull that up here just a minute. Looks like we've got. We should go into January 4th against Arkansas, number 1 and undefeated. Auburn, January 25th at Auburn. And then the at Kentucky game's February 11th. I mean, we know what Rupp Arena whistles are like. I mean, the funny thing is what we won in Rupp last year and lost at home. I mean, the infamous day of within about 15 minutes time last year, Tennessee lost to Kentucky at home. And 15 minutes later, I was sitting right down the hill from it. Lady Vols had South Carolina beat. And they decided not to guard the girl. And we can sit here and say, well, that was the first 3 she's ever hit. You don't leave a player on the number 1 team in the nation. I don't care if she's never shot a 3 in her life wide open on it. That was an agonizing 15, especially when you had a bunch of South Carolina. Of course, everybody was having fun with it. But it's like that was 15 minutes of misery.
It was. Yeah, because I was walking out of the men's team game. And I was right at like Hess, watching it on my phone, and then just total everybody walking together. Just like, how did they lose that game? It's like they just left. This guy asked. I remember he's like, "Well, how'd they lose?" Well, we didn't just final inbounds play, and we just decided not to guard a girl, so we just gave her a free shot. And of course, they're South Carolina; they're going to make that.
That was unbelievable. It's unbelievable, and I wasn't even that bothered by the UT Kentucky game. I was bothered by the women's game for days. And it's like I wasn't even that big. I didn't even watch them much last year. That was kind of the point. I was like, I wished I would have started doing Lady Vol stuff earlier with the coaching search, but it was kind of later on. It was like, all right, we'll test this out a little. But yeah, Auburn, Kentucky, those will be. Didn't we get they go to Gainesville January.
That one's going to be tough.
7th or 8th. They don't have an exact date on it on here. Is this one of those? Depends on TV.
I have it as the 7th. I didn't know they did that for basketball. That they kind of floated that around.
I see it on I've got the PDF of it. Yeah, I thought ESPNU was going away. Why is it still around?
I don't know.
That channel needs to go away because I always have to get some subscription to be able to watch it.
What game are you seeing that on?
I'm looking at the PDF on the Tennessee basketball schedule because it says January 7/8 Tuesday/Wednesday at Florida, ESPN2 or ESPNU at 7.
It has to be ESPN2. I mean,
you would think
it's a top 10 matchup, and Tennessee's undefeated going into that game. Like, they're beating Western Carolina, they're beating Middle Tennessee, they're beating Norfolk State, and John Calipari's not winning in Knoxville with that Arkansas team. I can guarantee you that.
Jonas Adu come in and go for 40.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it says now the actual XML or the web schedule says January 7th. So I would assume that's probably what it's going to be. I don't know why it says ESPN2/U. ESPNU needs to go. It's always, that's why I hate during baseball games when they go to ESPNU, because it's like, well, let me see if I can get a free trial or something here. Let's see. Been waiting on Gainey to bust out since last year. He is talented, man. He can play.
He's very talented.
Man, I love Right to Vape. He did it. He changed his name to Right to Marlboro. Yes, let's go. The Lanier foul out was ridiculous. Yeah, I agree with you on that. I thought the Shaq foul was crazy. Let me hit some more down through here as well. Try to get called up. Mashak's got to clean up the 3-point fouls. I agree. What do you have, 2 tonight? And Lanier had 1. You're probably right on it. I guess I'm just a little pissed at some of the other tic-tac stuff. But, I mean, we've seen it. If you touch a shooter like that, it's going to get called. I mean, it's not like it's a shock or anything. I agree with Tim on that. In seasons past, we would have lost a game like that.
Yeah.
I absolutely agree on that.
We would have lost it last season for sure.
Yes, I think so. And I was going to say, because if Connect would have fouled out, we were done.
We were cooked.
We were cooked. Lexington was like one of a couple of games where Connect really wasn't on. Who was it? Josiah Jordan James went off in that game at Kentucky, didn't he? Yeah. I mean, these were outliers along the way. But, yeah, we would have been cooked last year if this same game would have happened. I totally agree. The fact that, I mean, Lanier still went for 17, but it was mainly first half. He kept him in the game in the first half, and then Gainey put him on his back. That was a rough second half of officiating. I agree on it. Riley here says, Kerry, bring out your sacred hat. Is that it you got on?
No, it's the BOLS one.
Oh, okay.
It's downstairs.
Now, did you get one of the what's the brand that has them? Bad Hat Day, is that it?
Bad Day Hat Company.
There you go. Did you have any of those yet?
What do you mean?
Do you have any of their brand of hats?
Oh, I probably have like 6 of their hats.
Oh, do you really?
I got another one on the way. I mean, there's this one right here. That one right there. And then I got the sacred one that really just never gets worn. It's the national championship one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. This one's nice.
Yeah.
That one's very nice.
I've got the one hat that ticked me off, pissed me off. I was fired up to get it finally. Was the black UT hat with the interlocking UT, the Nike one. And I got it, and I look like Dumbo with it on because it's out about right here. I look like something from Spaceballs.
Was it a flat bill?
Yeah, but it was still, it was too big. And the UT logo on it, like the size of your T, it was about half the size of it. I mean, you about needed a microscope or something, a magnifying glass to see it. And it's like I ripped the tags and everything off of it. So I'm one night on here just gonna give it away because I can't wear it. I look stupid in it. So there's no reason for me to wear it. But let's hit some more here. You're welcome, Anderson. I try to hit those stats. Got them pretty early. How far behind am I on I'm about 15 minutes behind on comments. Let's see if I can get down here a little bit. By the way, we got 377 in it. This is a killer crowd tonight. This is awesome. Cam Carr, have you heard? I've heard potentially before SEC play. Have you heard anything more on when he may be back?
No, I haven't heard anything more when he'll be back. I did know. I mean, he did have that really skinny cast on whenever I saw him last week. So, and he still was warming up and everything. He was literally participating in every single thing in the warm-ups. He just wasn't shooting with 2 hands. He was still taking layups with his dominant hand since it's his left hand that's injured. So he still went through everything, and he moved around fine. He moved around like it wasn't necessarily hurting him because, sometimes like you hurt your hand, it kind of makes it hard to move. You may hurt your shoulder or something doing that. So I don't know when he'll be back. To me, it was promising seeing him move around the way he did. And it was an extremely skinny cast. So he should be back soon, if I had to guess.
I'd heard the same as Kyle Beach here. He'd be back close to SEC play, but I've not heard anything. Reese, I've kind of what you said is really the most I've heard on it. I mean, they've not said, just said he's progressing along. But I mean, with the way Parra has looked. How big's that JP Estrella injury looking now?
I mean, it was huge to me the second that came out because Okpara, yeah, he's 7'1", but like Estrella, he's got beef on him, and he can match up against any guy in the nation. To me, he guarded Zach Edey really well last year in the tournament. So I
He
was,
did better than our all SEC guy who sat
yeah,
on the
I was
bench with the
huge on
towel over his
Estrella.
head.
I thought Estrella was going to have a great year, and the injury just killed that. And their depth when it comes to that does scare me because we're not going to be able to match up against teams that have huge 7-foot guys because Okpara so far has been just even worse than Ohio State fans talked him up to be. So it doesn't look very promising.
I'm not ready to throw the towel in on him yet.
Yeah, me
But
neither.
he's got to step it up.
He does. Yeah,
He's got to
he's
step
gotta
it
be
up.
better.
And, I'm not down on anybody. I'm disappointed in how his coverage or how his games have been this week against. Because I think Miami I think they have more talent than their record indicates.
Yeah, they definitely do.
The other night.
Yeah.
I mean, Tennessee took some blicks from them at times, and it still felt like Tennessee was very in control of that game. But tonight was that night we really needed Okpara. This was one of those games with Illinois center being 7'1". I mean, he had 12 rebounds, but fortunately, Milicic picked up the slack on the boards. I know
If Milicic was a few inches shorter, 2 or 3 inches shorter, this team would definitely be hurt right now. So that's what I was thinking during the game. Like Milicic is a huge gift just because his scoring capability and the way he can handle the ball and everything. I was like, but if he was an inch, like 2 or 3 inches shorter, it's scary whenever you have to think about it when it comes to rebounding and a matchup aspect because we would essentially be in the negative against every team we play if they always have an advantage against us.
That was one of the things when I looked at his video and stuff in the off season. 6'10" guy, he can shoot. He didn't. Obviously, he didn't show it tonight. He can dribble, he can rebound, he can block, he can pass. I mean, he can do it all. He really can. Now, his numbers at Charlotte, I think he was around 12, 13 points per game and around a little bit over 8 rebounds per game. So I think that's what you'll see. I mean, there'll be some nights where he goes for 20 points or more. It'll happen. Yeah, he might need to go fire a few shots up in the gym after tonight.
Wouldn't hurt.
I think there's a few of them probably need to go do that, but it's just I don't know. I'm pretty still, even though it was I'm trying to find the by half here. That's what I want. Oh, here we go. So the first half box for Tennessee. Tennessee shot 21% in the first half from field goal, 20% 3-point in the first half. Let's see what they had in the second. 41% field goal, 28.6% 3-point in the second half. So second half was definitely much better than the first half was in terms of shooting. I mean, the assists, we had 6 assists for the game. 5 of them were in the second half and only 1 in the first.
That's rough.
Jeez, rough. Man. That's normally this is a team that will put up 15, 20 assists per game, but I guess on these nights like this, if you get 6 assists, you take them for what they were, and they had a 1-to-1 ratio, 6 assists to 6 turnovers tonight. So I guess it could have been worse. I don't know why I think that's so funny, but just 6 assists is.
I mean, it is bad.
It is, and 12 total for the game. I mean, Ziegler, there's nights he'll go for more than that himself, probably. But there's no doubt Gainey saved us. We do not win that basketball game if Jordan Gainey does not put this team on his shoulders. There's no doubt about it. Anderson, you're the man. I appreciate you. Greatest fall coverage available. I appreciate that a lot. Well, I mean, this is where Gainey run the point a good, and they
Yeah,
did pretty good when he was
yeah, looked
running
pretty
it.
nice.
Yep, I thought Boswell had 6 minutes. I thought he was effective tonight, though. He had what an offensive rebound. He had his defense was pretty solid. I mean, pretty good night, really. I mean, minimal action for him, but still pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good with that. I don't know what more do you want to see from this team, Mike? Who do you obviously we've talked about Okpara. Who do you need to see more of? Or who do you need to see more from? I guess would be the better question.
I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say I need anybody to um, step up because I think you could anybody that's not stepping up, there's a guy that will replace him when it comes to the stat sheet. I would like to see more Dubar though. I understand that he's been injured and everything, but I mean the kid's good. He's got great potential. He doesn't look like a 3-point shooter, but he's actually an excellent 3-point shooter. So he's a guy that I think he's great on the defensive end. He can rebound, which Rick Barnes love guys that can rebound, and he can also be effective at the other end shooting the ball. So, in my opinion, you get more playing time for him. Good things will happen for Tennessee.
What did they say? He was 40% last year at Hofstra. So I mean, he was the number. Chaz Lanier was ranked the number 1 offensive efficient player in college basketball last year. Dubar was 5.
Yeah.
And Hofstra play. I know for a fact they played at Duke, and he had a really good game. I mean, I don't know their schedule beyond that, but yeah, you're right. You don't really think of him as a 3-point shooter, but he's probably one of the better 3-point shooters on the team.
Yeah.
I would venture to say, because I mean, if you look at it, if I go down the line here, I mean, Chaz is obviously the best 3-point shooter. Ziegler's, man, I mean, he's streaky as a 3-point shooter. His big thing is he's a great point guard. He manages and runs the team. His shooting is hit and miss. I mean, I look at Milicic. Well, Milicic is a better shooter than he was tonight. I'm not saying he's elite, but he is a better shooter than he looked tonight. Meshack, I mean, he had been better. He's a better shooter this year than he has been, but he had, what was it at one point? He had a rough stretch. You mentioned about the pass. He had the 3-point foul. He missed a layup where they went the other way, and I think they hit a 3.
Him and Ziegler both just had rough games today.
They did. And fortunately, this team had guys to bail them out. It's like Tim Bradley said earlier on here. I think in years past we lose this game. There wasn't guys to bail them out. And this year there is. And, I appreciate all the effort those guys that were here before gave, but there were some dudes who played a lot of basketball here that I really didn't think they were that clutch when it mattered. I'm not trying to crap on them or nothing, because these guys were busting their asses. They were great balls, but I like the Jordan Gainey stepping up. I like having the guys like, a Dubar who can possibly step up. This to me is just a more well-rounded team. Man, go ahead.
I mean, like Dubar, Igor, and Lanier, this is their last season. I just looked for all of them. I mean, it's one and done. So Lanier, you're getting what you want from him so far. Of course, you've doubled expectations, in my opinion. Dubar, I mean, I get he's had the personal things. He's had the injury. Hopefully he busts on soon. And Igor, I mean, he's been each game so far, he's done something that you've expected him to do. I just don't think he's put it together yet like Lanier has. And that kind of has hurt Dubar. Even if Dubar was healthy, he probably wouldn't have gotten to see the court as much. So that's 3 guys that are essentially competing for their future in the NBA. So, I mean, one of those 3 guys is definitely one of the 2 guys in Igor and Dubar are going to turn into a guy by the time March comes, in my opinion. I think one of those guys kind of steals a lot more playing time from the other, and that could negatively impact one guy. But that's just the way basketball is. That's just the nature of the game, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, Milicic is still averaging 12.3 points per game, so
Yeah,
that was pretty close to what he averaged at Charlotte.
yeah,
And 8 rebounds a game. He's pretty much on par with what he was at Charlotte. I mean, Zakai Ziegler's averaging 11.5. Gainey's averaging 11, right at 11, says 11.6. It says through 10 games, so these may be up to date on it.
he's just got to get out of the slump. If he stays in the slump, Dubar could definitely take his spot. And you never know; they may still end up playing. I may be completely wrong on that. Igor and Dubar and Lanier may be all on the court at the same time, considering the production that Okpara has given, which has been 0 so far. So if Okpara continues to not be in the game, Dubar and Igor could basically both essentially be your 5th man.
Yeah.
So in my opinion, I mean, Igor of course can run the 5, but Dubar, there's a little bit in the height advantage that you kind of lose, but the strength, in my opinion, you get more strength with Dubar because, I mean, the dude's jacked.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. We'll see how it all plays out.
Am I wrong in thinking that Cade Phillips was supposed to have like a mid-range game?
I think he is, but that's just one of those. I feel like there's a lot of guys that come through basketball programs like yours that they do have a mid-range game. They can shoot it, but they don't do it. Like,
Yeah.
you can do it in practice, you can do it in scrimmages all you want to. Whenever you go up against an actual opponent, you're afraid to take the shot. And when you do take the shot and you miss, you get taken out, and then you're not taking a shot again for essentially the rest of the season. So it's a confidence thing, in my opinion.
That's what I like about the Lady Vols style play. I mean, it's breakneck, kamikaze, absolute chaos, but their post players are not, they don't play the traditional post style. I mean, you see Spearman and Hollingshed and all these, their post players out gunning threes. And, supposedly, I was thinking Phillips had a mid-range game. And, talking about Estrella, of course, he's out for the year, but I'm pretty sure, I'm almost positive on this. They said coming in that he could step out and shoot 3.
Yeah.
And stuff. And he had a pretty well-rounded game. So, I mean, it's part of the system.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think whenever Cam Carr comes back, he may be the best rebounder on the team. I mean, the dude's arms are so stinking long. I mean, the dude dominated last season in practice getting rebounds. He has the potential to. I get that he's skinny, but he's just so good when it comes to. He's got the gift of the length, so he can essentially grab any rebound he wants to. He's very fundamental, and he's undersized, but he still gets a lot of rebounds.
Yeah, he's kind of a freak athlete too. His athleticism he's probably the most athletic guy on the team.
He's not afraid to shoot, and he may lead the team in rebounds in the future because he's missing a shot and he's going to go grab the rebound.
What was it Barnes said last year? He said there was a couple games in a row Carr played, and he said, I'm pretty sure Cam Carr leads the nation in shots per minute.
Probably. And, I mean, it's crazy, but I love to see it. I mean, I loved it last year. Just coming in, I don't care if I'm on the road in Kentucky and it's a 3-point ball game with 10 minutes left in the second half. I'm pulling. Like, I came in here to shoot, and that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, he played up at Kentucky, like 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah, and he was all over the place.
Very effective.
It was
2 to 3 minutes. I know he had like a steal or a rebound and maybe even a scored in it. I think him and DeLeon both. And that's why I wish some of these young guys, especially with Barnes, of course, they have the exit meetings and maybe they're encouraged to go elsewhere. But if a guy like DeLeon got impatient on it, sometimes, man, it pays off if you're playing in a good system to stick around a little bit. We've seen it in baseball with Tony Vitello. How many guys that stuck around that could have hit the road and it paid off for them?
Yep. Trey Lipscomb now is in the.
Trey Lipscomb is exactly who I was thinking of. Yep. Exactly the one I was thinking of. And look what he did his senior year and then went and got drafted. I mean, so many guys. Xander Sechrist could have went somewhere else and played. Yeah. Look how he finished up this past year. I mean, if you're in the right system, playing for a good coach, and they got it going on. Sometimes I'm not in these guys' shoes, and I get it from back in my day whenever I played. If I wasn't playing, it was frustrating. I get it. But if you get in the right system, you're putting in the work, you're playing for the right coaches, sometimes it pays off to stick around. I mean, there was rumors of Cade Phillips hitting the portal last year. And
he may have, if Adu and Owaka don't leave, or one of them doesn't leave, he may stay.
Yep. But you can see he put the work in, and I would sit here and say Cade Phillips is better than Owaka. I mean, Owaka's big thing, he could control the boards. But I mean, Owaka he was not an offensive machine. He could score down low, right around the basket. But and I wonder too if Adu would just hit the portal right after the Purdue game, if Owaka may not have stayed. I don't think that move's worked out for him. I don't think it's worked out for either one of them. Doesn't sound like, but I've seen some stuff that Adu may be injured, but still yet. I don't know. That was one after the Purdue game. Whatever, man. He could go on. Getting Carr back's going to be huge. Got Dubar tonight. That was big. Estrella's out for the year. So we'll get him back next year. I mean, looking at next year's team, you're going to get back. You're losing a lot, though. You're losing Lanier.
Yep.
You're losing Igor. You're losing Ziegler, Gainey, Meshack, Dubar. So really all you got coming back is, as far as current guys, you got Phillips, Okpara, Cam Carr, Estrella, and Boswell. That's it. They've signed 2 guys, high school. A couple guys looks like they could be kind of your prototypical Rick Barnes. They look pretty good, but they're not. I feel Barnes has better luck with the guys who are long-term dudes than these one-and-done guys.
He does.
The one-and-dones have not panned out for Barnes.
And they haven't even panned out whenever they go to the NBA. Like, none of them are playing any roles right now. So I think it's just stupid, in my opinion. And I think whenever they made a decision to go, it's the guys that have made that decision have just made some stupid decisions because they were never going to play immediately in the NBA like they expected. And I don't know who told each one of them that they were going to step into the NBA and play. It's just not going to happen. I mean, look at guys like Dalton Connect and Grant Williams that stayed a part of programs. They worked and they got better. And then now look at them. They're both, of course, Dalton Connect's a role piece on the Lakers. And I don't know who Grant Williams plays for right now because I don't keep up with the NBA.
He's with Charlotte now.
Yeah, but those 2 guys, they actually play. Look at the other guys that went one and done. None of them play any impact on any team. So it's very questionable because you're going to get better well-rounded as a player under Rick Barnes and under a college program than you are whenever you go to the NBA. Because the college coaches, they're going to focus on you. They're going to try to develop you to get you to the next level. And when you get to the NBA, a lot of that just disappears. It's kind of do it yourself.
Mm-hmm. I think, didn't Jaden Springer get a ring with the Celtics last year?
Yeah, but he didn't do anything.
Yeah, I know. He held his way to a ring. But, I mean, you look at him and Keon Johnson, they were pretty good players their freshman year.
They were great players,
and they went first round. I mean, you can't blame them when you go first round, but I mean, I think there's 2 ways to look at it, really. And obviously me never being in that situation. If you're a first round pick, you about have to go. But at the same time, if it's like you're late first round, you're going to bounce back and forth between the NBA and the G League, are you better off to maybe come back another year or 2, solidify yourself, kind of, become better defensively, become better offensively, or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have staying power, which I think Connect will. And I don't know what the hell the Lakers are doing. Connect was having some big games, and all of a sudden he's not playing as much. I don't know. That I'm a Laker fan from the Showtime era, and I've been frustrated with them for a while because they keep saying LeBron needs more help. They've got talent on the freaking team. I mean, I don't know what else they need out there. These guys now, that's why the NBA, when I was growing up, it so much better. Any of you guys that are older, watched the NBA 80s, early 90s, I think you can validate with me on that. I mean, like guys now, if you drive down the lane for a dunk in the NBA, guys will get out of the way. Back in the day, if you went down the lane, you got put on your ass.
Yeah.
That was the bottom line with it. They talk about LeBron being the GOAT. He ain't the GOAT. He can't hold a candle to Michael Jordan. Kobe Bryant was better than LeBron James. LeBron's a great player. Don't get me wrong on it. But it's funny to me he's had to go load up teams to win championships. I was not a Bulls fan. I wasn't a Jordan fan, but they built that team the right way. They may add a player or two, but it's just different, man. Just different. But, it's
you see
I don't know, Kennedy Chandler, going back, I'd have loved to have seen Kennedy Chandler stay.
Yeah.
At least 2 or 3 years on it. He could play. He was a heck of a player. But his game, his size was his issue. If he'd been 6'2", 3 or 4, Kennedy Chandler's a regular in the NBA right now.
I just think it's the one and done decision is just hard in the NBA because you're fighting for such a small availability of roles. Like there's only 5 guys on a court. So even if your picks 20 to 30, you're not seeing it. You still got to get developed and actually see the court most of the time. So that's why I'm kind of against the one and done thing because it is really hard to see the court in the NBA. And I'm okay if you're okay with one and done just to get paid in the G League, which is what a majority of the Tennessee guys are doing right now.
Yeah.
But still, you could have got developed into a top 15 pick, and unless you were like 26 and been a part of a program for 6 years, even though you could score like 40 points a game, that's the only way you're getting dropped. So
yeah, I mean, I wish they would go back to. I wish they'd do like they do with baseball. The one and done's pointless. Either go straight to the league,
yeah,
or they come to school for 3 years.
Yeah.
Or now they've put this rule in where if they're 21, they go in 2 years, which we've been affected a little bit by that with some players, and it's going to continue to be a thing. And that's fine. I mean, a couple years is not bad either, but I would rather see that than just coming to school a year and hitting the road. And I mean, what do they go to a semester of classes, if even that? Half of them don't go to class the second semester. I mean,
and you can just flunk out in the spring semester. Like if you already know you're gone, you don't even have to try. So
yeah, it's a joke. The whole thing's got to be fixed. But that's NCAA for you. There's not much about the NCAA that does make sense on it. But I think we've hit probably about all we can hit on this one. The road ahead for Tennessee, we'll hit that one real quick before we get out here. Look at the schedule. I mean, to me, Western Carolina Tuesday at home, Middle Tennessee State Monday, December 23rd at home, Norfolk State New Year's Eve, 3 o'clock at home, and then January 4th they start SEC play. So Norfolk State will wrap up non-conference play. There are not, let me double check it here, but there are definitely not any non-conference games mixed in once conference play starts. Normally there's 1 or 2 that's in there, but not this year.
Not since the league expanded.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. This is an interesting point. I've seen a few people. Do you think Barnes could walk off into the sunset this year? What if he wins it?
If he wins it, go. Like, of course, I think you have to go. If you don't, I don't see him. I mean, there's always a possibility of retiring. I mean, Nick Saban up and retired out of nowhere. So, a lot of coaches do that. So I don't necessarily know. I still think you could And I've kind of thought that since he got here. Like, how many years do we necessarily have him? Do we have five more in him? Maybe. And here we are sitting today. I only have like max 3 seasons that I think that he goes after this. So it wouldn't surprise me if he retired at the end of this season, really, no matter how the outcome is. And if he retires, it'd be rough. If we don't win and he retires, it's rough. We may not make a Final Four in the next decade.
It's a pretty valid point because, I mean, you got to think who all's leaving this year.
Yeah.
And
then who does leave that's entering the transfer portal on top of that.
I really kind of wonder if maybe Gainey moves up to the head coach after Barnes retires.
Maybe.
I wonder if they promote him. I don't know that they go outside of the family to do it.
What's the other guy that I, of course, can't think of the name because now we're talking about this topic? He was the head coach at he's a head coach right now for one of the college teams.
English?
Yeah, Kim English. What about him?
I mean, it's possible. He's at
I would be okay with
now?
it. What is it?
I think he's at Providence now. He was at
Providence. I didn't know if he took a step up from that.
I think he had gone to, was it George Mason? And then he went to Providence.
Let's see.
It was either George Mason or VCU.
He's still the head coach at Providence.
Right. So, I mean, I could see Gainey getting moved up on it. But I mean, because I think Barnes will have a little bit of say-so. And Gainey's been with Barnes.
Yeah.
Well, he's been with him 4 years now. I'm pretty sure. I think this is the 4th year on it. And he's a guy, I think he's probably getting close to getting some looks as a head coach. I mean, Clark's been with him a few now as well. I mean, there's been a few guys from the Barnes tree go out and get head coaching jobs. So,
yep.
English would probably be the one to me that stands out to come back. Now, I mean, Danny White, he's got his coaching tree out there as well. He's got his contacts. I mean,
yeah.
The whole family's involved in the profession about it. But my thought is it would be Gainey. Give him a shot on it. But, I mean, we've seen how these assistants promoted things have worked out. I mean, it's been hit and miss over the years. I mean, it seems Shire's doing pretty good at Duke right now. But, I mean, when Dean Smith hung it up North Carolina, Bill Guthridge was meh. Not too. I mean, Pat Summitt, Holly Warlick was meh. I mean, there's been plenty of those along the way. I mean, with North Carolina now, Roy Williams. I mean, Hubert Davis he had that lucky run, or I wouldn't say luck. I mean, I don't think it's luck if you make it to the national championship game, but they had underperformed that season. Anyway, so I don't know. It's maybe right here is the guy. Hire Frank. There we go. I'll take it. You up for being an assistant coach?
Yeah, gladly. Give me that salary. I'll take that salary any day of the week.
Yeah, maybe we can get backwoods. He can bring his bulldozer up here, and
heck, he can practice. He's tall enough.
Yeah. I mean, he can be our big guy coach. I mean,
he probably still has some eligibility.
Yeah, he's got a little eligibility. So there we go. Me, you, and backwoods. I think we got something going here. So we're in good hands, guys. We got it taken care of. So I guess on that note, we better roll on out of here. It's getting pretty deep if we're getting to that. So, but we're right at 4:20. It's been a hell of a show, hell of a crowd tonight. So thank you guys so much. Tuning in. Big night for Tennessee basketball. A big win. Good teams sometimes don't play their best, yet they still find a way to get it done. Rick Barnes, he knows how to get it done. He knows how to get it done and stuff. But we'll be back Monday night. We'll go live Monday night, 8 o'clock. We're going to call that one Fund Carry to go to Columbus next weekend. So bring your super chats Monday. All super chats go to Carrie's Columbus trip.
I need some clothes. It's going to be cold.
So, he's scared. He needs to get him some long johns for next weekend and stuff. So, But appreciate you guys tuning in. We'll see you Monday night. It is always a great day to wear the orange.